So, hello students. Today we are going to discuss one more problem from solid state physics. This question is from crystallography topic and question came in IIT-JAM 2016 examination and the question was from NAT portion, okay, numerical answer type portion, okay. So in this question, we have to find the number of second nearest neighbor ions to Na plus ion in NaCl lattice, okay. So before solving this question, I want to discuss the basic property, basic structure of NaCl lattice. Okay, so let's discuss what is NaCl lattice and how it is made up of. First of all, see, NaCl crystal lattice is basically a FCC lattice with two atom bases. Two atom bases. Okay, NaCl lattice is face-centered cubic lattice with two atom bases. Here, at one basis point, there is a two atom. Okay, one is sodium ion and that is chlorine ion. So, if we take sodium at the corner, that is as the FCC lattice point, that is sodium at the corner and at the six faces. So, from the sodium, the chlorine will be present at the distance of A by 2. If side of this cube is A, then from the sodium, the chlorine will be present at the distance A by 2 at the edges. Okay. So in this crystal lattice, I have made sodium at the corners and the six faces and the chlorine ions at the edges at the distance A by 2 from the sodium. And I have mentioned here the solid spot, solid dot mentioning sodium plus ion, means Na plus ion, and the void is showing the Cl minus ion. Okay, so let's take a reference point. We are taking this sodium point, this sodium lattice as a reference point. Okay, so first of all, let's see what is the nearest neighbor. Before going to the second nearest neighbor, we have to look on the nearest neighbor. So what will be the nearest neighbor ion to this Na plus ion? Obviously, this will be the chlorine, which is present at A by 2 distance. Okay, this chlorine or this, you can take anyone because all three and other three, total 6, will be at the same distance, that is A by 2. So from the Na plus ion, the nearest neighbor will be Cl minus ion at distance A by 2. Okay, this we are talking about the nearest neighbor ions. So for the sodium, the chlorine ion will be the nearest neighbor. And how many chlorine will be there? There will be total 6 chlorine ion. Okay, so I will show you just with the help of symmetry. See, if you're taking this is x-axis, this is taking as y-axis, and this one is taking as z-axis. So one chlorine at positive x-axis, one chlorine ion will be at negative x-axis. 2, one chlorine at the positive y, one chlorine at the negative y. 4, one chlorine at the positive z and one chlorine at the negative z. So total 6 chlorine ion will be at the distance of A by 2 from Na plus ion. So this is a talk about nearest neighbor, but we have to find the second nearest neighbor ion. Okay, we have to find the second nearest neighbor ion. So just look at this and let's try to find out the second nearest neighbor ion of this sodium ion. So if we see the second nearest neighbor, that is, if we see, this is at the distance A, this is A by 2. And if we take this ion at the face diagonal, this will be at root 2A. This will be at root 2A. But if we take this ion, this sodium ion, which is present at the face centered, okay, which is at the face centered, this distance will be how much? This distance will be A by root 2, half of the face diagonal. So this distance will be A by root 2. And this is also sodium. This is also sodium ion. So this will be our the second nearest neighbor distance. But we have to find number of second nearest neighbor. So how many second nearest neighbor ion to this sodium ion will be? So again, we will go through again with the symmetry. So if you see this, one sodium ion, if you're taking this sodium ion as a reference point, one sodium ion is present at this face center. By the symmetry, one sodium ion present will be at this cube. One sodium ion will be at this cube, because since we are talking about the infinite lattice, okay, we are talking about the infinite lattice. Lattice is at the infinite extension, so everywhere will be the NaCl lattice. One will be at this point, one will be at this point, and other will be at this point. That means at one plane, if we take this as YZ plane or XZ plane, at one plane there will be 4 second nearest neighbor ion, 4 at one plane. Okay, if you take XY plane, there will be 4 Na plus ion. So by the symmetry, on each plane there will be 4 ions on each plane. On a YZ, similarly, will be at the 4 Na plus ion. Similarly, on a ZX plane, 4 Na plus ion will be there. So how many Na plus ion is there from the this reference Na plus? It's total, it is 12. Okay, so the answer is 12. That means the second nearest neighbor ion from the Na plus ion will be the number will be 12. And which ion will be this? This is the sodium ion. But in the nearest neighbor ion was chlorine. But in the second nearest neighbor, the second nearest neighbor ion is sodium, and the number is 12. Okay, so the correct answer is 12. Okay, thank you.